Okay, we're joined still by Olivier Guittet, our security consultant, and also our reporter Ben Bland. Olivier, just picking up on what Lucy Williamson was saying there, I mean, this is a huge challenge, isn't it, for security officials in France?
Yes, very much so. When you know that just in France they have 5,000 people that they deem potential jihadists that they have to track down, monitor, and when you know that for one person to follow you need 30 law enforcement officers, that means 150,000 people that they don't have on staff. So they have to make choices of who they're going to follow, who's most likely to attack, and this is very, very difficult.
And the problem is, when you have soft attacks like this, you know, who do you monitor? How do you monitor something like this?
Right, it's quasi impossible. The only thing that could help was to get human intel. Somebody that had infiltrated the cell that would work for the services and tell you, or somebody within the family of the perpetrators call in and giving information. That's the only way that they could prevent attacks, and that's what they've been doing on a weekly basis, actually.
We know that hundreds of French nationals have been going abroad to join Islamic State fight in Syria. I mean, how does that play into sort of the dynamics of what has happened?
Look, it plays a lot. We are up close to 2,000 French nationals going to Syria and Iraq. The main propaganda tool for the Islamic State to recruit those people is saying that look, there are massacres in Syria and you're letting Assad do that and your government is not helping, so you have to come and help us, and your government is an accomplice of Assad, and that could have been the reason for the attack yesterday.
Let's go back to Ben Bland, our reporter. Ben, just talk us through some of the latest in terms of transport, and we know a lot of Paris will be shut down today. People in Paris will be waking up to a very different city, won't they?
They will. I think you know, one of the things to remember is the you know, it seems obvious to say it, but the human impact of this. There will be people waking up, perhaps not knowing whether their loved ones are safe or not, struggling to get in contact. Investigators have been beginning that grim task of removing bodies from the concert venue. People had gone there, you know, less than 24 hours ago for a night out on a Friday to see a band play, and some of these investigators are now having to remove their bodies. At some stage, those will need to be identified. So, you know, that grim task begins. The rest of the world has been showing its solidarity in various ways. Certainly overnight, the hashtag Pray for Paris was trending, had been shared millions of times on Twitter. And in a very public display of solidarity, landmarks across the world were lit up in the red, white and blue colours of the French flag. Those landmarks including the World Trade Center in New York, and the arch over Wembley Stadium here in London, and various other buildings, just to show that solidarity with Paris, which is an international city. You know, it's connected to the rest of the world, and people will, I think to an extent, feel that an attack on a city like this is an attack that goes much more widely, and you know, that's reflected in the reaction we've heard from President Obama. He described it, his words, this is an outrageous attempt to terrorise innocent civilians, an attack on all of humanity.
Olivier, going back to you, I mean, and picking up on what Ben has said there will be countries all around the world, leaders, security officials, all thinking about what if this happens, this could quite easily have happened there. I mean, the security challenge is immense, isn't it? Right,
and it just boils down to the problem of means and how much of an impact it's going to have, and also it will impact on our way of life. What's going to happen next? I mean, in Paris, will you have airport-like security going and walking into a department store or going into a concert hall? Most likely this will have an effect that will change totally the way people view security, because you have to remember the targets this time were less usual or classical targets of jihadists, like journalists or military or Jews. It was mostly for people just going out just to instill fear.
So it's interesting that 3 of the attackers were wearing suicide vests. And what does that tell you about who they could have been?
Right. Some of the reports I've seen are actually showing that all the 8 of them had suicide vests. What it's showing, it's 2 things. It could be people that were imported directly from Syria rather than homegrown terrorism, but also it could be the fact that they didn't want to get caught to give out any kind of information, because as of now, it's going to be very difficult for security services to get any kind of information directly from the perpetrators.
Okay, Olivier, joining us there, security consultant, many thanks. And we've got Ben Bland, many thanks for joining us. France waking up to a very different climate where more than 120